Many thanks for staying on News Desk. Now, Pressure Group Occupy Ghana has served notice they will head to courts in the coming days if government fails to provide it with names of companies that bid for the Independence Day brochure. The group is also demanding, among others, the public procurement procedure adopted in selecting the winning bid and whether or not the Ministry of Finance is being requested to release funds for payment to the company with the winning bid. Ace Anan Kuma is a leading member of the group Occupy Ghana.
We just want information. That's all we seek. We want to know, looking at the quality of the documents we had with respect to content, who opened a bid for the printing, publication, or production of these brochures? How many companies bid? Which company won the bid? If we didn't go through open tendering, did we do what they now call sole source, but the law called single source procurement? If we did single source procurement, what reasons did we give for choosing one person? In fact, was the approval of the procurement authority sought and obtained at all? If they did, who signed the contract? What did the contract say? Who is responsible for the content? Was it the printer, publisher, or the person in charge of production? Because we were first told that the ISD had done a mea culpa. We are guilty. Then the ISD workers got up and said, our director is wrong. We have nothing to do with this. In fact, even the letterhead he used is not our letterhead. The director apologizes and is made to fall on his sword. He's dead. He's gone. But that's not the end of it. Who did this to Ghana? We want to find out. And so we are asking for all of this. Have we paid for these brochures? Which documents supported the payment? Can we see them? And so that for now, we are just asking for information. We want to find out who did this to Ghana.
And if indeed the information is provided and it suggests that there's been some wrongdoing, what would Occupy Ghana do next?
We will ask for a complete refund of every peso that is owed to Ghana from whoever did the wrong thing. If we find out that some people did this to this country, they would have to refund it. If we find out, well, so as they say, look, the sweetness of the pudding is in the eating of it. Let's get the pudding first. Then we'll see how we taste it.
Well, that was Aizana Nankuma, leading member of the group Occupy Ghana, in an interaction there with Inshuado on the Super Morning Show. Well, the group has also been commenting on a recent decision by an appeals court to uphold a High Court's ruling to free businessman Alfred Agbeshi Woyome on charges of causing financial loss to the state and defrauding under false pretense.
Completely different kettle of fish. One is a criminal trial. We said that he had defrauded us by false pretenses. The state could not prove the case. The High Court and the Court of Appeal has told us that we could not prove that he had defrauded us by false pretenses. That's something else. The Supreme Court has said whether he defrauded us or not, pay our money back. That's a different matter. So whether he likes it or not, he's going to have to pay the 51 million cedis back. He's lucky. The Supreme Court didn't award any interest against him. So if he invested the money wisely, he's probably made it over and above that. That's fine. He should keep it. But for the 51 million, he has to pay it if our Attorney General is interested in him for executing that judgment. I
like that last statement, if the Attorney General is interested in executing that judgment. There's been reports that he's requesting a period of 3 years over which to pay back the 51.2 million cedis. What does Occupy Ghana make of this, and what will be your next line of action?
Isn't that pathetic and insulting to the people of this country? That the Supreme Court determines that monies have been wrongfully paid to somebody. Gives the judgment, how many, 3 years ago? Virtually no effort is made to enforce it. And why do I say that? Remember what the president said on 12th January? That it was when they were preparing the 5A that some other rates, which the court threw out in an almost insulting manner. It was when they were preparing the 5A. Now the rate of 5A for all of us is a piece of paper which says that the court has given judgment against you, you haven't paid me, so court, go and seize the man's items and sell them. Now, no judgment is self-executing. When the court gives you a judgment, that paper doesn't walk into the man's room to collect your money from you. If the person who you have the judgment against does not pay the money, you employ the machinery of the court to execute the judgment against the person. It appears to us that it was only in January this year that we're doing the most basic and fundamental step of filling out a piece of paper called a 5A to serve to trigger the machinery process, and then he managed to stop it, but through some the personal filing an action in court. Thankfully, the Supreme Court threw that away. He went back with more temerity, impudence, audacity to ask for 3 years. The Supreme Court warned him and threw him out. Look, Isha, people of Ghana, we need to start asking the Attorney General some questions. What have you done, and when did you do it? What have you done, and when did you do it? When did you file the entry of judgment? When did you file 5As? Have you started garnishing proceedings? On which days did you file them? We need to ask questions of the officials who are paid for marketing to do the work. And so we are waiting to see. But journalists, people, fourth estate of the realm, begin to ask the critical questions. Where are we with the enforcement of the judgment? He may not have committed a crime, but he has to pay our money back. Where is our money?
So that was Zanan Nkrumah, like I mentioned earlier, a leading member of the group Occupy Ghana. But let's still stay with the courts. This time around, let's try and talk about this political case that's it's been there for some time now. It has to do with the issue at Clotte College as regards the ruling NDC. Now, Nneɛma Ahyete, as you're well aware, is in court suggesting that indeed the candidate for the NDC in that particular constituency after their primary, I'm speaking of Dr. Zaneto Rawlings, is not fit to lead the party because at the time of contesting for that particular primary, she did not meet all the criteria. Raymond Akwa is in court and he's joining me on phone now with a lot more on what has been going on so far in court. Raymond, good morning. Thanks for joining us on News Desk. Tell us much more about what this case between Mr. Ahyete and Dr. Zaneto Rawlings has gone into.
So it's actually to do with whether or not the very candidate or the nominee of the NDC who recently won the party slot to represent the party in the upcoming elections in November in the Clotte College constituency is a registered voter and therefore was qualified or not qualified to represent the party in the upcoming elections. So that's the substantive case before the court. What has been happening today, however, is that the three major motions that were supposed to be raised had to be shelved because there were some preliminary motions. Now, in what happens to be some dramatic turn, the lawyer for the plaintiff, Gary Mako, walked into the court proceeding that.
Hello, Raymond. Okay. So we seem to have lost Raymond Akwa over the phone lines there. He was telling us a lot more on that particular case between he was trying to give us a lot more on that case between Nneɛma Ahyete, the incumbent member of parliament for the Clotte College constituency, and the winner of his party's primary, Dr. Zaneto Rawlings. We'll try and raise him back on the line. When we have him, we will bring back that story to you. And that's a developing story, I must say. But to some more stories now. In the Auditor General discovered financial irregularities amounting to 252 million cedis in its scrutiny of government accounts in 2014. Now, the document, yet to be scrutinized by the Public Accounts Committee, identifies cash tax stores and procurement as well as a payroll and contracts as areas used by public servants to misappropriate monies belonging to the state. Now, this is not the first time the Auditor General is reporting irregularities, except the scale tends to increase with each passing year. Now, we bring you excerpts of the report intercepted by Joy News.
In the opinion of the Auditor General, poor cash management and procurement practices provided ministries, departments and agencies the opportunity to act illegally despite the existence of the Financial Administration Act to guide them. In the breakdown, cash irregularities accounts for over 5 million cedis out of the money lost. The report blames it on misappropriation and theft, as well as unsupported payment vouchers and wrongful withdrawal from vested accounts. The biggest infraction relates to tax irregularities, which represent about 80% of the money lost. The report traced the anomaly to delays in the transfer of GC net revenue collected by the Ghana Commercial Bank, but failed to collect the tax component involved. Payments to persons who have left the public service also accounts for 11.4 million Ghana cedis. Payment of works not supported by certificates features prominently in the infractions identified. The Speaker of Parliament is expected to refer the report to the Public Accounts Committee for scrutiny and report. During the period, the park will hold public hearings, which will involve public institutions cited for wrongdoing. The committee is tight-lipped on the content of the report at this stage, but member Solomon Namlit Boa tells Joy News they will first meet with the Auditor General on the findings.
Well, it doesn't come to me as a surprise, looking at the various infractions that we've been dealing with over the years. We are hoping that with the passage of time it will improve. But I won't be able to speak to this issue because as part of our engagement procedure, we need to hear from the auditees why this infraction took place. For all you know, some of them, who knows whether one or two issues have been cleared, then they will be able to tell whether or not this thing should have been there or it was supposed not to be there. So this is where we are at the moment.
For you.
Thank you. I think the next thing as part of our engagement procedure is to engage the Auditor General at a very important workshop where some of the issues that we don't understand, we'll clear the issues with the Auditor General before we now engage the auditees at a public forum. So basically, this is what is supposed to happen. Yes, we have received, it has been laid before the House. The Speaker certainly has referred it to our committee. I'm sure at the right time, the chairman will call for a workshop where we and the Auditor General and all the bodies that are relevant will meet at a very important workshop to discuss, look at the details before we engage there.
So time for a break here on News Desk. When we return, we'll bring you business with Emmanuel.atani. Stay with us.